We are just days away from the start of the college football season. First, on CBS Mornings, we've got an exciting announcement to share. The NCAA is teaming up with the national nonprofit Team Impact, the group that connects college sports teams with children that have serious health challenges, creating long-term relationships, which is key on and off the field. NCAA President Charlie Baker joins us now. Good morning. How you doing?
Morning, Nate. How are you?
All right. So since 2011, Team Impact has been doing this, has connected over 4,000 matches between children and these teams in college, but now there is a new development in this collaboration. Tell us about it.
Well, first of all, I'm quite familiar with Team Impact. My wife and I have been donors and supporters for years.
Okay.
So when I got to the NCAA, believe it or not, one of my goals was to figure out a way to create a collaboration between them and us. And the work that they do for young people who are dealing in many cases with debilitating, in some cases fatal diseases, to give those kids and their families a team that they can be part of, and a set of relationships that in many cases long outlast the time somebody spends for their 4 years in college, is really powerful. And the thing no one talks about is the other thing it does, and I've talked to a lot of college athletes who've been part of Team Impact, is it reminds those kids over and over again of the gifts they've been given and how they should appreciate the opportunities that they possess as a result. Because one of the things that happens when you play sports is you start to think, geez, you know, I'm working so hard, I hate this. And when you have a teammate who can't play and will never play and is dealing with much bigger things than you, has a pretty powerful impact on the way you think about the skills and the opportunities you've been given.
You're right about that.
I love Team. I think this is going to be a great partnership, great relationship. We're very excited.
That's awesome. And I'm not just saying this for the camera. As a guy that played college sports, my two sons go to University of Nevada, where I went. Please let us know how we can get involved or the university can get involved. We'll talk during the commercial break. But let's talk about the college sports scene. A lot has changed. We're talking NIL deals, revenue sharing, the transfer portal, the list goes on and on. Some people may describe it as the wild, wild west. How would you describe the current state of college sports?
Well, I think some of the stuff we're doing with the injunction that you just mentioned should take some of the wild west out of it. I mean, we have not had historically in this NIL era any process to collect data and provide people with the kind of information that would help them and their families make decisions.
Right.
The injunction basically creates a framework around school-based NIL. We can do, schools will be able to do up to $20 million in benefits for their student athletes each year. There's a cap management system being put in place. Third-party NIL, that's been a wild west. We now have a process people have to go through to get their deals approved. And one of the things that happens when you have those processes in place is people can start to produce information that will say, you know, this is what it looks like for a big-time school in the sport of pick it. This is what it looks like for student athletes who play volleyball, take a pick. That will change the game in some respects by, part of the Wild West is because people don't know much of anything about anything and can't believe anything.
Uncharted territory we're all in, right?
Now we'll have like real data that people can rely on, which we have not had.
But let's talk about that. You mentioned the NIL kind of shifting to schools being able to pay directly and putting some type of cap system in place. But what does that mean for the schools that aren't the big revenue drivers? So we know that college basketball, college football, I mean, those are the big dogs around here. But does that complicate the collegiate path for students that play sports that are on a smaller scale on these campuses?
I think one of the things, if you talk to those schools in particular, and I've talked to a lot of them, most of them are looking forward to the opportunity they're going to have to continue to invest in their other sports. One of the things
what does that look like?
Okay, so one of the things this injunction does is it gets rid of all the scholarship limits. So you can basically scholarship as many student athletes as you want. And I promise you, there are going to be thousands and thousands of athletes who will be scholarship going forward in women's sports and in the so-called non-revenue sports. I prefer to think of them as lower revenue sports.
Yeah, lower revenue.
That weren't scholarship previously. And I think this is, over time, schools are going to make decisions about which sports they want to invest in, which sports they want to be great in, and I think that's going to be good for everybody.
Now, before we go, I want to talk about gambling, because you mentioned how gambling has really clouded these...
Big time.
Big time. I mean, how do you feel about it? Because these players are oftentimes getting harassed for things that they cannot control.
So the amount of traffic online, especially, that's directed at student athletes in big-time sports and high visibility sports is insane.
It is insane. So what do we do to fix that?
Well, we in our major championships, we actually hired a company to track all that traffic. And if we see really bad stuff being directed at student athletes, coaches, or umpires, we notify the platforms and tell the platforms to shut those people off and block them, get them out of the tournament. Some cases we refer this stuff to law enforcement if it's ugly enough.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing we can do there, we provide a lot of education to young people around sports betting. We've probably done more than 100,000 student athletes on campus. We have a lot of online learning tools.
That's important.
We've worked very hard to encourage schools to work on what's going on behind the bench. There's a lot of, I mean, if somebody go sit behind the bench at a men's or women's basketball game and listen to the noise that's coming at those kids. It's ridiculous.
Well, I know you're a busy man. I appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much, Charlie Baker.